Welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. Climate change is not an impending crisis anymore. It's already got one foot in the door, but many world leaders continue to shrug responsibility and refuse to accept the sheer magnitude of the problem. But what if the cost of climate change could be measured, and that too in monetary terms? Would this spur the leaders into action? Well, that's exactly what this new report has sought to do. Some analysts estimated that the world economy would reach $258 trillion in 2050, but that was before the climate change factor. Once you add rising temperatures, rising sea levels and diminishing air quality, this estimate comes down to $250 trillion, which means that the cost of climate change to the world economy is likely to be around $8 trillion, or $7.9 trillion to be exact. Just to put this into perspective, IMF data indicates that the gross domestic product of the entire African continent comes to around only $2.4 trillion. But the impact is by no means the same across the board. The richer countries of the West are expected to weather the storm quite literally, while for the developing world, it's a struggle ahead. Africa is expected to bear the highest cost, with as much as 4.7% of the continent's GDP hanging in the balance. Angola is likely to lose 6.1% of the GDP. Towards Angola's north, Nigeria is expected to lose 5.9% of its GDP. Africa's third largest economy, Egypt, is expected to lose 5.5%. Following Egypt is Bangladesh, which could very well see 5.4% of its GDP disappear by 2050. And completing the list is Venezuela, with an expected loss of 5.1%. Needless to say, none of these countries are economic powerhouses. They are countries that grapple with problems such as poverty and hunger on a large scale. By virtue of being the world's largest economy, the United States is expected to be one of the least impacted nations. Keep in mind, this is despite Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord. So what can be done to avoid this crisis? The report calls for immediate action, and that too in a coordinated manner involving the developed and developing worlds. The developed countries have the money and the know-how, while most of the developing countries have neither. So any effort in order to be successful must be carried out in partnership. And now with the latest from Australia, where bushfires only seem to spread. Code Red has been declared in Victoria. This is the first time since 2010 that a fire rating this high in the scale has been declared in the state. Code Red means catastrophe. And to add to this and to the distress, the city of Madura witnessed a dust storm today. The power supply of over 1 lakh homes was cut off after tree branches blew into power lines. The dust storm also further fanned the bushfires. Firefighters battled with over 200 fires today. The visuals on your screens is what Sydney woke up to this morning. The thick smoke and haze shrouded the city's central district. The iconic Harbour Bridge and the Opera House were covered in a heavy smog. The ongoing fires have worsened the air quality in parts of Australia, with a few areas reaching over 300 on the air quality index. Australia has been battling wildfires for days now, and the flames have killed at least 4 people. 2.5 million acres of land has been burnt and 300 homes have been destroyed. Now, 50 new fires have sprung up in southern Australia and several areas have been evacuated. In some towns and cities, residents have been asked to stay indoors. It is important to note that Australia is prone to bushfires in its dry, hot summers, but this time the blaze came early. Experts are pointing the figure at global warming.